In 2018, I reformatted the web page, and the teacher's tips that I did at that time refer to the older website, but still have good ideas. But since then, I've added a few new additions to the website to help the students review. And let me call those that to your attention here. First of all, we have our 40-hour progressive self-help review program that they can use to practice their conversation skills. At the top here, we have the first 15 hours. The basics here is for students who are not familiar on how to make questions. There's a variety of different PDFs here which you can print off, which helps them to become comfortable in making questions. Obviously, they need to know how to make a question. It's more difficult to make in a sentence, but we have this area if a student does not know how to make questions or feels uncomfortable doing so. When we go to hour 1, and this is going to be replicated in all the other hours, at the top we mention what hour it is. The PDF will always be the same here because it reflects the 40-hour program and can show them the progress of the patterns which they learn in each hour segment, all through the 40 hours. So if students want to know where the program is taking them and what the method to all the madness is, they can see it right there. At the top is always the patterns that we study in the hour. Usually there's 8 to 10 patterns studied every hour. These are YouTube videos which just handle questions regarding this pattern, individual patterns. In the introduction, we introduce all of the patterns one at a time. There's a PDF here on the side which you're free, you can print out. It's the one I use in my studies with the students. I print out and I use it as a visual guide. I then have a section which is in the beginning called You. And this is if I were to be sitting there next to them at a table and going through the first 8 patterns. These are PDFs, once again, which we can print out, which will help in the for them to visualize what's happening. In the beginning, it's important that they learn how to make a question, get used to the present, the past, and the future, in both the negative and the positive. So we study that there. This, in the first few hours, we have which goes through a little format that I have, which handles the 12 areas which are important to any pattern. There's positive and negative questions and positive and negative sentences. And they all have a present, past, and the future. So those are 12 variables. And what I do to help them practice their question-making skills and their sentence-making skills is I give them a question here utilizing the patterns that we studied during that hour. I give them these are all in the present tense, the number 1. The subject changes so that they get used to the change in subjects. So they will come through here and they'll put, do you want to go here? Then they'd say, did you want to go? Will you want to go? Don't you want to go? Didn't you want to go? Won't you want to go? They go to the sentence, I want to go, he wanted to go, he will want to go. I don't want to go, I didn't want to go, I won't want to go. Once again, this is helping them to practice, to hear what they're saying and to articulate the patterns. There's a mixture of very simple vocabulary with random samples mixed within the hour. Once again, this is on the side here is PDF of the verbatim what they'll find in this particular video. And some students benefit by seeing people actually saying the words and having it come off of their lips and seeing the words as they're being said. So in these formats where you see me doing this, it's a YouTube video. I ask the questions that you'll find here, one at a time, and leave time for them to either answer the question or they can repeat the question. The advantage of repeating the question is that they can practice their question-making skills, become used to it. These don't have my face in them, but some students benefit by actually looking at the words while they're saying it. These two videos here do have captions so that they can see captions as they're being played. Let me play that for you and advance it. Hello. Won't they try to solve it? If they turn on the captions, I leave the caption up the whole time while they answer. When the next question comes up, do you know how to turn it on? So if they want to see the visual of what I'm saying and they find that helpful, that's there. Doesn't he need to find it? Let me turn that off. We then come to 1S is where I give them the sentence and they turn it into a question. He tried to talk. They would have to say, did he try to talk? Here I give the Q is the question. I give them the question and they simply answer. With the photo section that you see here, I've just designated by the letter P. There's 3 sections here, P, P1, P2. These are YouTube chances for them to practice their skills. Once again, first the PDF here is a verbatim of all of the questions that are asked. This is simply a short video which has some music in it, just previewing all the photos that they'll see in this particular video. So, for example, with this video, it's 46 minutes long. Let them speak. Review. Once again, there's captions.
Patterns.
If they turn that on, while I ask the questions, they can see the caption at the bottom. And it goes through about 200 questions.
Will they have to ask their relatives?
I put this test review in here only because some students love tests, and so I just did a simple test here for them. Once again, photos, and this is the older teacher tips that I have, which I will keep in here, along with some Instagram little shots that I did one time regarding it. So this gives them the beginning basis of where we're going to be going. Our goal is this. We're going to move through 40 hours, about 8 patterns at a time. And these are going to be building one on top of another. We'll be combining patterns together. So it's important that they get used to hearing the patterns in the beginning, and as they move on to other patterns which are used together, then they become more familiar and it's a bit easier for them. It gives them the ability to simply handle conversation skills and to develop their ability to express themselves. So that's the first hour. It's very simple. I have a lot of reviews here. If a student has any problems with this, he should not move on to the next hour. Become comfortable with this. At the beginning, they will feel a little bit uncomfortable with their ability to answer quickly or to repeat quickly. That's natural. As time goes on, though, they'll be able to handle it much easier. I usually find out that about, after the third hour that we studied, this is hour 1, when we go to hour 2 and then hour 3, once we get to hour 3, they have no problem at all with any patterns with hour 1. And as we go on, it's just it just continues on. If they need help later reviewing, if they're on a bus, if they don't have access to a computer doing this, if they have a mobile device, we do have, or I have put together a podcast which has all the lessons that you see here in the website in a video format that they can access. Once again, it's absolutely free. The only disadvantage of the video podcast is that there is not a closed captions capability on a video podcast. But when they run the podcast, it will be in a video format so they can look at it as they're listening to it. It's available on these formats. Podbeam is the one I like the most. It's where I made the podcast on. And if you just search English, you'll see my podcast, and you simply subscribe to it, and you can access any of the videos that you see here at any time of the day. Thank you.